of the mosque here. He and his wife and family are here, Sister Robin Mohammed. But I would like it, without further ado, to bring him forward and give a round of applause for Brother Wallace.
Good afternoon. As Muslims say, peace be upon you. And the language of our Quranic scripture is Assalamu alaikum. Everybody can hear me clear? This mic. First, I want to commend the panel and the persons that were involved in organizing this meeting. I think it's a very noble cause, and it takes a real sincere heart or sincere person that loves community and loves their family and wants the best for all of this community members to get involved in these type of activities of charity and community improvement. I'm gonna get straight to the point. I agree 1,000% with some of the opinions and voices we've heard today. But being the son of Imam Deen Mohammed and the grandson of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I come from a unique background. Some people may call the society that we come from somewhat an experimental society on how to solve the issue of the effects of slavery, after slavery, on African American community. And so quite naturally, when I'm thinking about our problems and our concerns in our lives as we transition, because we saw a community rise. We called it the Nation of Islam. We saw it rise and meet its heyday, and we see it come down on its decline and then risen back up, and that's just the nature of society. But the question we have to ask ourselves is what's causing, what was behind the strength of the growth of our communities, and what is behind the weaknesses and the decline. And most of us know that in our heart of hearts, how to explain or express the solution to many problems that we experience them hands-on. But that's where leadership comes in and guidance. And as Muslims, we follow divine guidance, and we look for guidance from God and from His books and revealed books and sources for the answer to many of our situations. And in doing so, we're able to address the issues that we're faced with. The Nation of Islam had a strong leadership role in not just in the community of African American people, but in the world. And but it served a purpose. It was a purpose to solve an extreme issue which we see our country healing from. And you don't only have to look to the African American community or the former members or members of the movement back then to see the change and to see the difference in the effect that it had on the improvement of our community. You can see it everywhere in culture. The language, I hear Imam Muhammad, he used to speak of us living in a language environment. So language is very important. And me being a parent also, I like to speak to things that might appeal more readily to a parent. Our scripture, it compares the life of a human being like that of a plant. And in parenting, I developed a hobby from being around the home. And parenting, as we all know, is something that is a part of our nature as human beings. And there's a reason. Imam Muhammad calls it the life force. The reason why male and female are attracted to each other is something more powerful than our culture, than our communities, than our church, than the influence of our parents or any influence. And God didn't do that for no reason. He did it, put that strong drive in us to promote life and the continuation of us as a species. So if you look at that attraction, that strong attraction you have for your husband or your wife, and once you come together as a couple and you start to develop a family, that same love and same attention to constant attention, it should transfer onto the children. You can't be a part-time parent. You can't go to sleep on your children. Your love has to be for them continuously, and it has to come from a natural place. I always hear people say that love relationships, and this is where we're advanced culturally as Americans over many other cultures that believe in arranged marriages or interfering and picking a husband or wife. That this is something that is it's divine. God guides you to the person that's going to be your soulmate. So God should also guide you in how you address your children. That you know in your heart of heart when you're being too harsh, when you're not paying enough attention, when you're putting money and other fears that society has burdened us with over the attention or the love for your child, and especially discipline. You should get to know your children and know your role as a parent. So when I reflect upon my plans, it's a night. It's one of those things that I use, and we have a lot of distractions. This culture that we live in, it puts distraction after distraction. I heard Deen Mohammed say one time that the church cannot compete with this culture. So it's just too big for us. So we have to we should work even closer and even be more vigilant of what's affecting our communities at large. So when I look at the culture, for Muslims, we're forbidding one of the most cultural pastimes that the average person in society get off work, they're going to go have to drink a little intoxicant, something to get their mind away from what they're doing, and the strong ones can come back and go back to do their work every day. But we're at such a deficit that any distraction should be looked at as an enemy towards our good future.
That's true.
So whatever it may be, I'm not asking you to become a Muslim and say that you're not going to drink or smoke or gamble or have fun, too much fun. As long as you keep it in check, anything in moderation can be managed. But when you go to the extreme with something overboard, you can't just hand a person that's never used a loaded weapon and tell them to be careful. So anything that's dangerous to vital to our life, you should be real careful about how we manage it. And going back to the plant, that's my vice. That's the thing that I love to do when I want to unwind and relax. And Satan, the enemy, Satan, not no human being, but Satan is in the mind and in the spirit of the person that's weak to his influences. And he's all around. And on earth, people of faith believe that he is an influence in the world that can affect anyone that's not prepared or ready for it. So the plant. I'm going to go back to the plant. The plant, I developed a little hobby where I'm trying to grow house plants because I spend a lot of time in the house. My business is in my home, and I have two small children that, when they allow me, I get to do a little business. So they take up 90% of my time, and they really need your full attention. And me having the mind of my father and my grandfather in this environment I grew up in, that I study everything because we believe that God communicates to us through His creation, not only with ourselves, but everything that we come in contact is worth paying attention to and studying to some degree or some level. So I noticed that my children having the same nature. My father told me when I was young, he said when they stand up and they can look you in the eye, they said they're like an equal, that human being is developed full, that they have the same emotions, same aspirations, same feelings. So you should deal with them on that level, and you should be their guidance and teach them. So I try to figure out how can I deal with their concerns, because they say 90% of our communication is nonverbal. So that means you don't have to wait till your child can speak before you're influencing them. I hate you even influence them when they're in the womb of their mother. So I notice, and I put myself more to task than I do the children, because anything that I see in them that I may believe in ignorance needs changing. They're only following their nature up until a certain age or point. And believe it or not, for Muslims, that age is, I believe,